Mark Twain once said, too much of anything is bad, but too much of good whiskey is barely enough. And that's exactly how I feel as I near the end of my Scottish sojourn. But it's not over yet, because there's still one more chapter to be told in the story of the Mavericks of Dufton and the magical brew they create. It all started with Glenfiddich, but that's certainly not where it ended. The William Grant & Sons Company produces many fine whiskies, but that's not the only drink that the company puts out. A quaff you'd never associate with this bonny land comes out of William Grant's distilleries too, and that is Hendrick's Gin. Ponder that for a few moments while we explore the roots of another famous Grant creation, the Balvenie single malt. So the Grant family has always had a reputation for innovation and for being maverick, so it's no surprise that they do something quite special here at the Balvenie Distillery. And I know what you're thinking, if you've seen one distillery, you've seen them all. But not quite. I'm going to find out why. The Balvenie single malt whiskey is the most traditional offering of William Grant & Sons and stands out as a proudly handcrafted labour of love. To know more, I meet David. Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you too.
Nice and chilly, perfect for a wee dram.
Absolutely. It's always good for a wee dram.
It's always good for a wee dram in Scotland. Fantastic. So tell me about the Balvenie. What sets it apart?
Well, this distillery was built in 1892 and it was William Grant's second distillery.
Okay.
And it was clear that, upon the success of building the Glenfiddich distillery next door, he wanted to have another success story.
Okay.
So there was the opportunity to make something different.
Okay.
Let's have a second distillery, and we'll call it after the Balvenie Castle, which is nearby. And so here we are with the Balvenie distillery, creating great flavour, another fantastic malt to provide to the world.
Well, one of the other things I've noticed about both Glenfiddich, the distillery, and your distillery is that you produce so much, but you don't see that many people.
They are there. When you're a handcrafted distillery, we need these people to be doing specific tasks. We have, in total, in the process area of Balvenie, we've probably got about 25 people altogether. And I think they're involved in very important areas, and they're busy.
So David, in the few days I've been here, I've noticed a lot of those pagodas.
Well, we're especially proud of this one because it is the only working one left in mainland of Scotland. But this is a working kiln. It's where the barley seeds are going to be dried after they've been through the germination process. When these pagodas are functioning, you will see some steam and some peat smoke coming out the top. Very atmospheric to see.
So with the Balvenie, there's a strong focus on tradition and craftsmanship, and I'm sure there's some incredible stories.
Well, you're right, and the Balvenie distillery is the most handcrafted malt whisky. So lots of craftsmanship just oozing out of this building, and so we rely on these guys to continue to produce a malt whisky that has the flavour it has because of the work they do.
And undoubtedly you can taste the detail of craftsmanship in every sip of the Balvenie. Let me now take you through the 5 rare crafts that go into its production. First, there's the homegrown barley, lovingly cultivated right next to the distillery. Second, the process of malting. These are what are known as the maltings, and it's something quite special because in the past all distilleries would create their whiskey using this method. But as time and technology changed, fewer and fewer distilleries stuck with such labor-intensive methods, but the Balvenie did, and that's what makes this whiskey so unique. This is the traditional malting floor. Here at the Balvenie distillery, barley is received, cleaned, turned by hand 4 times a day, dried and then stored before it's put into the hands of the men and women that will transform it into Scotch whiskey. The third craft is the coppersmith's work, who keeps the Balvenie stills in ship-shape order. The fourth craft is the preparation of the all-important casks, which are repaired, rebuilt, filled and sealed all year long by a dedicated on-site team of coopers. And finally, the fifth and last rare craft, the knowledge and experience of the Balvenie malt master, David Stewart. His nose and palate are the final authority on what goes into a bottle of the Balvenie.
They say an affair with whiskey can last a lifetime, and in the case of the craftsmen who work here at the distillery, that's quite literally true, because they've been here since young lads honing their skills. Ian, I bet you have some great stories to tell.
Yes, well, I'm one of the craftsmen here. I started at the age of 15 and served a 5-year apprenticeship. I've now been here for over 47 years. And in my time I've repaired quite a few of these casks that we're sitting on. So basically the cooper is responsible for the quality of the wood. The spirit, when it's made for a start, is clear, and the flavour and the taste most of it comes from the wood. So 60 to 70% of your flavours comes from the wood. If you'd imagine it's clear like water, and after a number of years it changes to a nice golden colour.
Oh,
so all these flavours and colours come from the wood.
So you build these barrels?
We only repair them,
Okay.
but most of the casks that we use have already been seasoned with either, like ones we're sitting on, bourbon, they're ex-bourbon barrels. But you can see where we are now, looking all around at all the different sizes of the casks.
Yeah.
They're all called casks,
Okay.
but they're different terminology for each one. These big ones over there,
Yeah.
they're actually European oak, they're sherry butts.
Okay.
This one here is a American oak barrel.
Right.
So different types of wood give different flavours.
You've worked here for 47 years now, so you probably know your way around a barrel. How long does it take you to actually assemble one?
Okay, on average it takes about 12 to 15 minutes to repair one in normal time. We used to have a competition for the Speyside Whisky Festival,
Yeah.
where all the cooperages round about used to take part in a competition, and I think 3 of the 4 years I won it, and the time was about 6 minutes, just under 6 minutes. That was taking the barrel, knocking it down and reassembling it.
Wow.
So it was quite a challenge.
So is it safe to say you're a barrel of laughs?
No, that's true.
No one's ever cracked that joke before.
No, that's a new one to me.
That's a new one, excellent. So what I'd love to see, Ian, is actually how you put a cask together.
Okay, that's a problem. We shall go into cooperage away from the sun, and I shall let you see how to build a barrel.
Jump off.
Okay, let's go.
Now let me tell you this, it's never a smart idea to compete against a man with 47 years of experience in cask making. But I took it up nonetheless.
Basically what we're going to do, we'll just take a stave like so, push it against there, take the next one, all the way around.
And since I'm a smart man, I'm not competing, merely assisting. Of course, as Ian hammers, holes and nails the cask into shape, I'm only too happy to look on. And of course, pose for the camera once he's finished his work. Well, I can tell you one thing, that cask was made in well under 6 minutes.
Well done!
What a genius.
So clearly making premium Scotch whiskey is no monkey business, but it could give you something called monkey shoulder. You'll see what I'm talking about.